It's my privilege to bring to you information about HydroGraph Clean Power. Jay has mentioned in his presentation some of the benefits, why graphene is such a super material. And I'd like to add just a couple of things. That one is that HydroGraph produces graphene that allows current to pass through it at about 1,000 times faster than current passes through copper or silicon. So when you think about that, what is that going to do with high-speed computing? There are a number of universities, Georgia Tech and others, that are producing graphene semiconductors now with the specific purpose of trying to produce them for high-speed computing. So that's another field. Graphene can touch virtually every field, and its nanotechnology is growing and growing, and it basically touches every known industry. So with that in mind, HydroGraph is unlocking the potential for graphene. Here's a forward-looking statement. I'm going to make a number of forward-looking statements today. And HydroGraph Clean Power produces the highest quality graphene in the industry at the greatest cost efficiency. It uses a patented explosion synthesis process. And you'll see here, that's the Hyperion unit. It's about 2 meters by 2 meters by 6 meters tall. It is a patented process. It's an explosion synthesis process, and I'll go a little bit more into how that occurs in another slide here shortly. We can scale up. The unit costs about $500,000. So everybody that's thinking CapEx, this is an extremely low CapEx manufacturing process. Easily scalable. We just produce more and more of the Hyperion reactors. We can produce, 10, 20, 100, or 1,000. Just all we have to do is meet the customer demand. Right now, we've got one that's been in full operation for about a year, probably a little bit over a year. It produces 10 tons of graphene per year. So think about that for a second. We sell graphene at $250,000 per ton up to $1 million per ton, depending upon what kind of functionalization we've put into the graphene to make it more usable by the customer. So even at the low end, $250,000 per ton, it only takes 2 tons to pay off the unit, the CapEx for the unit. And it produces 10 tons per year. So extremely profitable. Our investment thesis is that it's an ultra pure graphene. That's one of the key parameters that our graphene, I'll describe more in a minute, is ultra pure. It's 100% graphene. We produce consistent quality. Every time we make a batch of graphene, it is exactly the same. It's an efficient operation. It's an exothermic reaction that produces the graphene, you'll see the process here in a minute, in about a millisecond. We have global reach, of course. The feedstocks that go into it to making the graphene are available around the world. We can build the unit wherever we need. We're going to do centralized control of these Hyperion units at the start, but as worldwide access grows, we'll probably have other locations around the world. Strong value proposition. We've found that we've got about 75 potential customers now. We have found that every test that's been done with different graphenes from different companies, we have won the test. In fact, we are usually 3 or 4 times more efficacious. So customers are really looking at the purchase orders probably are not far down the line. And we're set for growth. We can grow this company by producing more Hyperion units. It takes about 2 to 3 months to produce a unit. We could produce them in parallel. We can do 10 in parallel and ramp up our production of graphene very quickly. Here's the problem. One of the problems with graphene in the past 2 decades has been that the purity of graphene was not good enough. A test was done on 60 companies, and they found that none of them exceeded 50% graphene. Most of them were below 10%. So what they were selling basically was graphite with a little heightened graphene in it. We don't have that problem. Our process, our synthesis process, produces 100% pure graphene every time. It produces fractal, you may remember, is just like crystals being formed. It keeps producing the same pattern time after time after time. So it's 100% fractal, 100% crystalline, and it's 99.8% carbon, 0.2% oxygen. That helps with providing some additional electrons so it can pass through. It's also turbostratic, which most people don't understand. If you collapse a monoatomic layer, and that's what graphene is, monoatomic layer in a hexagonal structure like a chicken wire. If you collapse that down, it folds very nicely, but turbostratic means it is separated a little bit, which means each layer of the graphene almost acts independently, and electrons are able to pass through. That's the key factor, is electrons can pass through graphene at almost relativistic speeds, about 1/300th of the speed of light. So it is extremely fast, which makes it obviously something that's being considered for computers, high-speed computers. So the solution that we have is Hyperion system. We produce feedstock or have feedstock that we put into the Hyperion unit. It's acetylene and oxygen, and out comes pure graphene time after time after time. And it's, like I said, an explosion synthesis process. We just received this week, part of the reason we saw such a huge uptick in the value, the price of the stock, is we just received EPA, and in the UK and the European Union it's called REACH, so essentially the same process, which allows us to safely scale up for full-scale commercial production. We have a strategic partnership with the GEEK, which is the Graphene Engineering Innovation Center. That's in Manchester, England. And it's here where they have acted as a third-party independent analyst to take a look at what graphene is the best for a customer. And like I said, in 75 potential customers, we have won every test. And like I said, 3 to 4 times more efficacious than other customers. James Baker was the CEO of the GEEK, and he has stepped down from that. He was also a professor at the University of Manchester. He stepped down from that, and he has joined our advisory board. At the GEEK is where we came in contact with the U.S. Army Research Lab. They have determined that they want to produce a GEEK in the United States, and we've been told that HydroGraph is going to play a key role in that. Here's the established relationships with various industries that we have. We're going to address or be available and will provide graphene for all these industries. The two most that we're focused on at the moment is composites and coatings, although lubricants, concrete, and energy storage are going to be high on our list also. I'll leave you to take a look at all the various benefits for those, but you can see they're very large industries that we're going to be intimately involved with. Our commercialization is already underway. We've been selling to some labs, very small amounts, but we have a large automotive industry that is looking to potentially give us an order for tonnage. And biosensors, we are working with a biosensor company that they think they can use graphene to detect 14 different diseases. And the bottom one, the technical fibers, that's the military and federal. And we've got a large interest in that, so we think that's going to be pretty big also. Here's our patents. You can read about that. We have a lot of patents, so we have a moat of patents around it. We're producing more things all the time, many patents pending. So you can take a look at that. Here's the low energy. We produce graphene. It's an exothermic reaction, so it is very low cost to us, and we're the cheapest. All other graphenes are produced by mechanisms that require a lot of energy, and they're not pure. It's not clean. And the benefit of graphene really occurs when it's absolutely pure. Here's our capital structure. This is a little bit outdated. It's a 1 week outdated because with the run up last week, when we got the EPA and the REACH approval, the stock went up, and we're now above 2 billion Canadian. So let me just close with one comment. You may ask yourself, are we done? Is this as far as we're going? Well, let me remind you, we're a patented process. We're easily scalable. We have a growing customer base. We've got about 75 already we don't have a closed purchase order yet, but we're getting there, and we anticipate that soon. We're not dependent on any foreign suppliers. We produce the graphene here. We can reduce the reliance on critical minerals such as copper and silver, and I haven't really discussed how that happens, but we can alloy graphene, and it actually increases the benefit of copper, its current carrying capability. And HydroGraph will play a large part in the build-out of the U.S. Army GEEK in the United States. We have a headquarters that is being opened right now in Austin, Texas. The NASDAQ listing, we've just achieved the metrics that are necessary for NASDAQ listing, and we're expecting to have that closed hopefully by the end of Q2 of this year. And low CapEx, low operating expense, it's about 20%. So for every dollar of revenue, about 20% of it is expended for OpEx, and 80% is clear earnings. So as an investor, let me ask you one question. Do you want to buy stock in a company that before or after, and I think you're going to say before, large purchase orders begin, before revenue begins to expand at 80% margin, before the NASDAQ listing where more potential investors come in, before we announce the contract that we're near term for acetylene and oxygen supplier, before we begin the large production facility where we will put tens, if not hundreds, of Hyperion units, and before we scale up production to begin in earnest. I think you want to invest before, and if you do your due diligence, I believe you'll come to the same conclusion that I did, which is why I joined the board of directors, that this is one of the best investment opportunities of the decade. Thank you.